Hey there, barbarian goblins. I am the Goblin King, and I'm here this Wednesday with a completely uncivilized great movie review. This week I've got a barbarous movie for you, an uncultured tale that started the career of a world-famous muscle-bound oaf. So get oiled up, grab your fur loincloth and your war axe as we prepare to answer the riddle of steel with this week's pick, Conan the Barbarian. Alright, for all tens of you who have never seen Conan the Barbarian, I'll try to sum it up for you. I can't promise I'm going to do a good job. The tale takes place in a fictional, far distant past before the Mongols, the Huns, before the Sumerians, and the Egyptians. A world of savagery, barbarism, darkness, and sorcery. The tale focuses on Conan, a man of the far northern lands of Sumeria, whose entire family and village are massacred by the warlord Thulsa Doom. Conan, with the rest of the village children, is taken as a slave and strapped to the wheel of pain, forced to push this massive millstone for years until he is, literally, the last one standing. The years of grueling labor have forged Conan into a massive mountain of a man, whereupon his master throws him into the gladiatorial pit. After winning countless battles, he is taken to be educated and trained in the East before being freed. Once freed, he eventually finds an ancient sword and meets up with another man, a Hyrcanian thief named Subotai. Together, the two seek rulers of the standard of Thulsa Doom, upon whom Conan wishes revenge. In a distant city, Conan and Subotai learn of the snake cult and make plans to raid it and steal its treasure, only to come upon another thief, a woman named Valeria. They succeed in their quest, and Conan learns that the snake cult is headed up by Thulsa Doom. Their brazen act, however, puts the trio on the radar of Osric, a local king whose daughter has been lured in by the snake cult. Osric wants Conan and his friends to rescue his daughter in return for a rich reward. This sets Conan on a path which leads to many hardships and rewards. Death, loss, suffering, magic, riches, and revenge all lie ahead for the Sumerian warrior. Whew. Holy crap, I don't think I've ever had so many issues trying to write out a synopsis for one of these reviews before. Dear gods, it's like the words just wouldn't come. So, I apologize for the haphazard jumble there. I was basically forcing myself to get those words out so that I could do this review. Anyway, now that's out of the way, how about we go into the actual meat of this thing? So, as I think most of us are fully aware, this is the film which launched Arnold Schwarzenegger's career. Physically, let's be honest, the man was actually perfect for the role. It was really his acting ability and his ability to speak English that was ever really in doubt. Luckily, the script doesn't really call for Schwarzenegger to actually act too much. All he really has to do is be big and imposing, which is probably the only thing the man is actually good at. Now, I know that sounds salty, and I'm not going to sit here and state that I've always hated Schwarzenegger. Hell, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s. I've loved Arnold most of my life, and to be fair, his acting ability has gotten at least a little bit better over the years. Hell, if more recent events are any indicator, it's been downright godlike since he had us all fooled for decades that he was actually a decent human being and a decent American. Fuck your freedom, indeed, my Austrian friend. I honestly don't hate him, even now. I don't care enough to actually devote any of my endless hatred for the guy. I think he's just an asshole. Anyway, yeah. Schwarzenegger was physically perfect for the role of Conan. Now, I'm going to be honest and say that I've only ever read Conan comics. I've never actually read any of Robert E. Howard's pulps based on the character. I know, I'm an awful human being and don't deserve nice things. Outside of the movies, I was never all that interested in the character until more recently. Now, though, I find myself thinking about delving into that stuff a bit more, especially since I actually do like Red Sonja. At least the version of Red Sonja that's a contemporary with Conan. Though I haven't read that either for at least a handful of years, ever since comics started to suck. I mean, Gail Simone, come on. I ain't reading that shit. James Earl Jones plays Thulsa Doom, and he's awesome, like always. I mean, nothing will ever top the sheer cultural impact of his voicing Darth Vader, let's be honest, but the man actually is a damned fine actor. I've seen him in many other things, and he brought a wonderful, chilling gravitas to this role. A role that, had it been portrayed by a lesser man, may have been incredibly laughable. The other high point of this film, at least for me, is Mako. Mako does the narration, and he plays a kind of silly wizard character that Conan meets about halfway through the film. Mako was always great fun to watch, and this role is no different. Now, I've honestly always enjoyed the set pieces for this film. The sets and the mythos itself to the film were always the parts that really drew me in. That's part of the reason I actually want to kind of get into Robert E. Howard's writing now that I'm a little bit older, because I am honestly fascinated with the world he built up, and I'd like to know more about it. I also like the idea of a sort of less civilized world where magic is actually there, but kind of rare, and it's looked upon with fear and awe, rather than the standard fantasy novels, you know? The action of the film was pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. Some of the fight scenes, particularly Arnold's stuff, looked a bit wooden and stilted. I wonder why. Overall, though, they weren't honestly terrible. Now, as far as things that were painful to watch, let's talk about Valeria. The character in and of itself wasn't a bad character. There were definitely moments she shone. The scene where they're waiting for the ghosts was a really good scene. Not the scene with the ghosts, but just before the ghosts show up. I liked her in that one. I also liked her when they're inside Mount Doom just after they've rescued the princess. When she's all alone and fighting those guys. That was a good scene. I definitely liked that she was a warrior but still felt like a woman. Like, she wasn't throwing around dudes and kicking the shit out of 300-pound men. She used her own strength and training to take care of her opponents. She was quick and lithe, not besting her enemies through brute strength like, Arnold, and that was really cool. The rest of her stuff, though, was just... ouch. I don't know if it was the script, Sandal Bergman's acting, or a combination of both, but damn. A lot of the scenes between her and Schwarzenegger, seriously, were just legit painful to watch. Jerry Lopez as Subotai wasn't good or bad. He just kind of was. All around, I think the thing that makes this movie great is the action, the mythos, and the quotes. Seriously, this film is full of some great ones, like, Conan was a slave to the wheel for many years. That was one that my buddies and I used when we were line cooks about 20 years back. It was applicable, trust me. Or, and Conan knew the touch of a woman. Granted, that's not the exact line, but it's close enough that it counts as a great line. Both of those, of course, were Mako lines. Then there's the big one, the one everyone knows. What is best in life? If you can't answer that question, I'm not sure I want to know you. The greatest thing about that line is it's based on a line attributed to Genghis Khan himself. Anyway, seriously, you need to watch this movie. Much like with Army of Darkness, it's really hard for me to figure out why I love this movie so much. I mean, I gave you a few reasons that contribute, if nothing else, but the reason this movie is considered a classic is pretty ephemeral, properly unique to each person that loves it. And I think that's all I have for you on this one, though, Goblins. Let me know what you think in the handy section down below, if the platform provides that. While you're down there, tell me what is best in life. I'll see you all tomorrow for another day in pop culture and a review of a much anticipated anime. I'll see you all then. Later.